Alright guys, how's it going? Let's talk about dragons. I'm going to cover each dragon type individually because they are kind of different. But we are going to talk about the frost dragon first. And these little boys, I don't know about you. You know, they can't hit the hardest. They're not the hardest hitters, but man, their HP pool, we're already sitting at 2.1k with the HP buff. And we're not even level 40. So well over 3k HP. Probably 3.5 to 4k HP capped out with the HP Constitution buff. I mean, you got yourself a little tank that can just walk around and absorb hits and keep the enemy attention, and it's so nice. So, with most beasts or things that are not human, you can have no gear except for accessory on them. I like to kit my guys out with healing and 1 revival, just all meds, because why not? Movement is not as good as a griffin, which is understandable, but, you know, I don't think a dragon's necessarily going to be about movement. What makes a dragon fun is its access to skills. So we're going to start from the top, and like I said, we get our Constitution, we get our Pincer Attack, Rampart Aura, which, I mean, you can make him into kind of like a knight, or like a unit that kind of holds the front line if you want. And that's what makes dragons really fun, is the amount of different builds. You can build, you could have a whole dragon army and they could all pretty much be a different build type for the most part. I mean, that might be a little exaggerated, but there's so many choices. And then you got Rampart Aura, which grants, you got Siege, which grants immunity to Rampart Aura, so you can bypass the front line of the enemy. Your Resists, and then we get into the special skills. So we got Frost Breath for the Frost Dragon. That breath will be different for every color, every type, every element of dragon. And then every dragon, I believe, has Toxic Breath. The ones I've looked at do. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they all do. And Toxic Breath does leaden on a target. And this will do false something. Hold on. We're going to get to it. Watch this. I looked at it, and then I forgot. Has a chance to inflict false flight. So that'll do false flight. It won't do Ice Averse like you would think. You would think it would do like Ice Averse because it's Frost Breath, but it actually applies a totally different debuff, which is super nice. And that's what dragons can do, is they can do, each one has a different debuff it applies. So that's also really neat. And then we got Icy Resonance, which, you know, is basically makes his ice attacks do more damage, and Ice Touch. And then we have Tail Lash. Tail Lash is solid as well, especially if you don't feel like using a breath. I definitely recommend having one of your offensive skills on at all times. You know, some people can run 2. I generally only pick 1 because by the time I get that MP, it takes another turn to get it back. So, I mean, unless I want to have options, I guess. But you really can't go wrong with any of these, whatever your choosing is. And like I said, Icy Resonance would be good if you're going to go like Frost Breath. But see, I'm not going Frost Breath, that's why I'm not using it. Then Dash to get around the field more. Increases move by 3. So you basically turn a move 4 into a move 7, which is, depending on what you're trying to do. I mean, this could replace a Griffin for mobility. You can make it work, definitely. Dragon's Eye causes special skills to hit with 100% accuracy and prevent them from being parried or deflected. This is great. This is great because you don't want your skills to be parried or deflected, and you want them to hit, and you want them to proc their debuffs if they have them. Dragon's Scale reduces HP damage taken by 50% until next attack turn, and reflect all damage taken to the attacker. Whew, this unit cannot make counter attacks during this time, though. So that's the only downside. Look how good that is. Reduce 50% and reflect all damage taken. So if you're surrounded and getting hit multiple times, you're going to reflect multiple times. It's active until next turn. So if you are behind the front lines and you get this to proc and the enemy starts beating on you, oh man, it's nasty. And man. Like I said, I got Dragon's Eye, Dragon's Scale, extra HP, Toxic Breath. Basically, I was just at a loss for words because there's so many ways to build that. Like, you could, just on these skills alone, you could go so many different routes, and you have multiple dragons. And people, you know, obviously a Dragoon is your bane. If the enemy has a Dragoon, maybe you shouldn't, well, check what the Dragoon has. Is it a dragon killer or is it a beast killer? If it's a beast killer, you're fine. If it's a dragon killer, probably don't bring a dragon. I mean, that's the one thing that's going to take you out. Other than that, you got free reign. I mean, you go dragon, 2 griffins. You know, I mean, griffins are sitting pretty too. I mean, and you know what's crazy is, like, griffins have 5. You give them dash, they have 8 movement, you know? And you got the back line, like, you just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like, you get 3 units back there, dude. It don't matter if they have 2 or 3 mages, the boss is back there. Let the boss hit you. You can actually take a couple hits from the boss. A lot of bosses hit for like 6 to 1,000 damage, 600 to 1,000, especially at this point. You can tank a hit or 2, maybe 3. Where, like, you know, your poor little priest or, like, your rune fencer or whoever, they might only be able to take 1, maybe 2 hits, you know, so. But that's kind of a quick overview of the dragon. I don't really have much more to say. I could ramble, but I don't like rambling, and I don't want to extend videos more than they have to be. I already feel like I rambled enough. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Let me know what you think about the dragon. Well, the frost dragon. We got to do each dragon individually. Do you guys use dragons? Do you think they're as strong as the PSP version? Do you think they're better? Do you just not find a use for them because there's so many other classes you want to use? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I personally use them most of the time, and I don't think it's a bad choice, especially if you need more tanks on the field and you need to replace like a Shadow Knight or a Knight or a Soldier, whoever, whatever tanky unit you got to replace. Dragon can substitute, I think, very well, and they scale very well because they don't need equipment to hit the max scaling. So yeah, let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Later, peace.